Hi everyone, it's Jordan here at Pisces Pet Emporium, and today I'm here to talk to you about the basic care of ball pythons. Ball pythons are great snakes, both for the beginner and the experienced reptile enthusiast. They offer hundreds upon hundreds of color morphs, as well as they have a great personality. Ball pythons are mainly a terrestrial species coming from southern Sudan and central Africa. The great thing about ball pythons is their size. Now, they don't get relatively too large in size. They'll get about 3 to 5 feet. Females can reach up to 6 feet, as well as a nice girth. So instead of having a long, slender snake, you'll have a shorter, stubbier snake. I really like that real snake feel, so having a snake that can get nice and fat, but not too long, is ideal. So this here is considered an adult ball python. How fast do they grow? You can expect a foot per year in the first 3 years. So 3 years, you'll have about 3 feet on the ball python. This here is not a normal morph. Now this here is a spider ball python, and he's a male, so you won't expect too much larger of a size than what he is now. They can reach sexual maturity in about 2.5 years. Obviously males, they will sexually mature a little bit faster than the females. You want your females to be a higher weight if you're looking into breeding them. But here's the spider ball python, and then I have two nice hatchlings to show you as well. So here I have two hatchling ball pythons, these two being extremely nice morphs. Here I have a killer bee ball python, one of my personal favorites, as well as I have a super pastel, so extreme yellows. And now I can go over what you need to basically set these guys up. So the minimum requirement needed for a hatchling ball python is at least a 10-gallon aquarium. You don't want to start off with a super large aquarium for a baby ball python. You want to be able to monitor them in a smaller tank, as well as they prefer to be in a smaller enclosure, and then you gradually increase as they get older. So here I have some lamps. Now during the day you only need about one, but a 75 watt should be sufficient enough to heat the 10-gallon aquarium. Now ball pythons, they are a cold-blooded species. They do like it a little bit warmer. Ambient temperature throughout the day, you want to be about 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, basking about 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. At nighttime, you don't want to drop anywhere between 70 to 80 Fahrenheit. So to achieve that 75 watt for the day, I also have here a 50 watt infrared light. Now, the infrared light only registers to the ball python as heat. They actually can't see the light. So during the night, if your house gets a little bit cooler, depending on where your tank is, set up an extra lamp and run the infrared throughout the night. So like any other reptile, you want to be able to provide both a house on the hot end and a home on the cold end. Now I put the water dish in the center. Ball pythons, they actually prefer a little bit more humidity, so if you can get a dish that they can actually soak their entire body in, that's ideal. So right now as a baby, I prefer to use the carpets. You don't want to introduce some substrates while they're young, because if you prefer to feed inside the tank, they can also ingest some of that substrate, and that's not good for their digestive system. So preferably carpet right now. Another thing that's really important with a snake is using some screen or cage locks. Now these are really easy to apply, and they're really recommended because your snake will escape if you don't use it. So two very important things to have in your ball python's enclosure is your thermometer and your hygrometer. Now the thermometer allows you to monitor the basking temperature of your ball python's enclosure, as well as the hygrometer allows you to monitor the humidity in your ball python's enclosure. Now you want a humidity at least 60%, and the way to achieve that in a terrarium without any natural substrate is to use a mister. You can mist about once a day. You obviously don't want to overdo it because it's just carpet on the bottom, so you don't want it to leave it soaking. But humidity is very important for your ball python's natural shedding. So now we're going to talk about feeding your ball python. Something you will need is patience, because not all of them will get on a routine schedule. Hatchlings, ideally you want to feed about once a week. Now ball pythons, they can be rather picky eaters. You won't always have them eating weekly. You can go weeks at a time or months even without eating, but you got to keep in mind that they are a hardy species, and as long as you're keeping them with persistence, so trying to feed them every week anyways, you will still have a healthy and girthy ball python. Now we want to talk about size of the feed. When they're hatched, they can start at fuzzies. Now there's the option in the pet stores generally to get frozen or live. Preferring frozen, you can stock up with frozen in your fridge or freezer. Let's say your ball python didn't take its meal and you have a live mouse. What are you going to do with that mouse afterwards? You can't bring it back to the pet store, and why would you want to leave it outside? So frozen is ideal. Start them off at fuzzies. You're going to look at the fattest part of your ball python. So about 1.5 times more than that is the size of food they can take. Now you don't want to leave them on fuzzies forever. If you notice an increase in size of your ball python, increase the feed. Ideally, after the fuzzy mouse, you can move up to rats. Rats are a little bit more nutritious than mice. So with the purchase of any animal, it's important to educate yourself on that animal. Now, you want to pick up a ball python manual. You always want something to refer to for information. I can't always talk about everything in the video, so there's lots of sources. Our website is actually providing now our care sheets online. I believe there will be a link provided in the video. But I hope you guys enjoyed my video on the ball pythons.